Hi everyone, it's Heidi from Flutter by Heidi and back again with another Darling Donkey project. So Celebration, just to remind you, this is a free stamp set that you can get when you spend £45 in January or February, and it's one of the items you can choose. So you could choose this, or you could choose this lovely ombre and patterned paper. So you've got bubbles on one side and on the other. Blackberry Bliss Granny Apple Green. Then the other design is the same colourway but with a sort of an ombre design, or you've got it in Bermuda Bay and Rococo Rose. Fabulous paper, all for free, full size pack, 48 sheets of 6x6, absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to be using these today, and today we're making this little donkey here. So I thought this was just a bit of a fun way of changing up the look of the front of the card from a traditional just sort of stripe across the front by just doing some partial cutting. Really easy to do, and all I've done is I've just added a sheet of the ombre paper to the front of a card, so you get the lovely ombre effect without using blending brushes or brayers or anything else if you're at all unsure about doing that. So that's what I'm doing, and I thought we'd change it up by going for a bit of green. So I've got my Granny Apple Green card base instead of the Whisper White one, and I've just cut that at 14.5 centimetres, 5 3/4 inches, and it's 21 centimetres, 8 1/4, scored at 10.5 or 4 1/8 to make that card front. So now I'm going to need to cut a piece of paper for the front. So because I'm doing it, I'm wanting the lighter part of this, because I've actually used the darker part for my banner. So you're going to again cut it at 10.5, leaving our darker part to one side by 14.5. And then this piece here is what we're actually going to use to create our background. So I'm just going to cut that to 1 1/4 inches. Like so. Okay. And you'll see that then obviously just stands out really well. Don't worry about trimming it down either at the moment, because we'll do that by hand. The other thing you will need is a piece of Whisper White cardstock. I've taken it to 14.5 centimetres, but it can be slightly it depends if you want to have it going all the way to the edge or not, and I've cut it at 2 inches, so 5 centimetres on that as well. So that's all the cutting you need to do. Next we can come in with our stamping. So I've got my little Darling Donkey here, and he's the little seated one, and I'm just going to, because I'm going to use blends to colour, I'm just going to ink up my little fellow and just stamp it right on the edge at the far end, like so. Now I'm going to come in with my, I'll show you some colouring in a minute actually when we come to do colouring. I'm just going to come in, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to line that up. So we want to take 1/2 inch off on each side. So I'm going to line it up at 1/2 inch on the right hand side, move my scoring blade, and I'm just going to cut. I'm going to hold it in place, lift up a little bit more until I kind of get to where that meets. Then I'm going to do the same on the other side, so 1/2 inch. Don't move it out of the way. You can always add a bit of washi tape if you wanted to. And the little line on the side kind of brings it down to where you want it to be. Hold it in place, lift up. It's there or thereabouts. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'd rather leave it a little bit short and then come in with my snips. So all I'm going to do now is just come in and just trim up to that bit. And do the same on this side. And I'm doing this before I colour, because what I want to do is make sure I've got everything really nicely done, cut before I actually colour it in, because I would hate to kind of spend the time colouring and then make a mess of the cutting. So all I'm then doing is I am just fussy cutting around the outer edge of my donkey. Now, depending on your preference, you can leave a little narrow border if you like. I'm not going to go up the inside of the ear. Don't think it's necessary. So the usual, just move the card, sort of hold your scissors pretty much steady and just move that card about, and then just finish it off as you'd like. So you can finish it off sort of fairly straight, you can come with a little uptick like I've done there. So there we go, there's our basic donkey. I'm going to use my Granny Apple Green, and then I've got my two little sentiments which I've put on just our small blocks, our nice G blocks. So I've got my hee-haw and then my it's your birthday. So I'm just going to come in and stamp those, and then the it's your birthday can just come on the bottom there, like so. So I can pop that to one side, and then I'm going to do the same, use the hee-haw across the top and bottom again, and just using the Granny Apple Green, and you obviously it shows up quite well anyway on the top, but actually even on the darker shade at the bottom it still shows up well because we've taken that very darkest bit off already. And obviously if you wanted to, you could come up with a just on the end there as well. So now I'm going to pop that onto the front of my card, move my stamp set out of the way, and I'm just using some Stampin' Seal and to add that onto the front. I'm going to stamp one of my donkeys on the inside as well. And actually, because it's going on the green, I thought rather than doing it in the black, I might actually stamp it in my Granny Apple Green. This is almost like a watermark kind of effect. Don't suggest you colour them in green. I'm not sure I'd want a green donkey. Might be feeling a bit poorly. And then we're on to do the next step, which is to just create the rest of our layer. So remember we cut this piece of DSP. So all I'm going to do is add my card onto the edge of this. And then I'm going to just come, and you see I didn't quite come right to the edge, so I'm just going to come down behind the head and just cut it off. So you then get this effect here, a tiny bit of glue. If you've got a little bit left over there, you could always put a bit of card on it, or dust it with a bit of talc. But now I'm going to come in and I'm going to colour my donkey. So I have got my crumb cake. So I'm going to come in with my dark bullet tip first, and colour my little face in. So little circular motions. So the dark bit is kind of where you'd see the shadow. So when it's where it's further away from you. I'm not the best colourist in the world. You may have noticed, but it's fun. It's great, you know. And to be honest with you, these blends make it so easy to do. Yeah, pop his little leg in, that dark bit there. So I've kind of added my darker colour. And then come in with your lighter crumb cake. And this is where I tend to, on the bigger areas, use the side of the brush and just keep colouring over that, trying to do his belly. I keep forgetting, and you'll see, you can see quite a line to start off with. So when you come over, you just do a little bit more where those lines join. And the alcohol in it, this is how alcohol markers work, they will then allow the colour to move. In effect, you're saturating the card, which is why it always comes through on the reverse. But then it kind of just blends, well, so it does what it says on the tin, I suppose. It blends beautifully. And I've left it quite light on his nose. I'm just going to add just a hint of sort of ground, almost like shadow underneath. And then the colour lifter. So this is not just for lifting colour, it is for blending too. So where you want things with just a hint of colour, as you might on the ground, just a bit of shadow, or his belly where you do want to lift the colour up a bit, you'll see that's going to dry a little bit lighter. My face, I've just noticed, is still a little bit sort of where it hasn't blended very well, so I'm just going to come in and blend over that again, and then I shall come in last little bit and just take a little bit off. Okay, so there we have our little donkey bit, and all that remains is to stick that up on some dimensionals. So grab your dimensionals, knock your camera flying at the same time, because that's always a good plan. And I'm so quite generous with these on these occasions, because I don't want it to sort of sag in the middle, but I kind of alternate sides. And then this is where I'll just, I might use a little piece on the far end over here. And then obviously you want to put some little bits on the end there. So I would just add those there, and probably another one just on the bottom there. So then you can bring your card in. Thanks to my mate Baz. So the tip about drawing on the back of your dimensionals, so you can see which ones have or haven't been taken off. And then all we do is add our donkey. And there we go. We have our fun Darling Donkeys card, one in crumb cake, one in smoky slate, which is your preference. You actually have a whole host of colours to choose from grey granite on here, crumb cake, our soft suede, and even cinnamon cider. So you could have a whole host of different coloured donkeys depending on your preference. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to pop along to my shop. Use the links that are in the description bar below this video to go straight to the products, or pop along to my blog if you want any more information. It's a bit of fun. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye.